things you wanna say, but don't forget the role I used to play. When you feel defeated, like your heart's been cheated, just think about me like before.
Hello, 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 and welcome to the Leen Show. Welcome to episode 9 of the Leen Show. That's crazy to think about.
Creeping to 10.
Yeah, double digits coming. Kathleen, what's up? How are you doing?
Oh man, I'm good. I had a hard time selecting my hat today. I was looking at. I have a massive hat collection. I've worn the same hat a couple of times on the show, but I tried to switch it up. But today I struggled. Which I was gonna ask you. Have you or have you not noticed that I've worn the same shirt for every single episode?
I just thought you were like a cartoon character and you just had like 20 of the same shirt, honestly, at this point. Is it the exact same one?
Yeah, it's the exact same shirt. I was wondering if you were ever going to say anything about it or if you just assumed that I was doing that on purpose. But yeah, I was like, I'm just going to wear the same black shirt every week and then I'll just change the hat up for consistency.
Okay. That's good for like the logo, because people will like always, oh, you're the girl with the black shirt and the hat.
Exactly.
But like you don't have a black shirt in the logo, do you? I think you have like a tie dye.
Yeah, I think I have a tie dye, but that's fine because that's on brand too.
We'll change that.
Yeah.
I'll contact the marketing department of the Leen Show.
Yeah, seriously, get it right, guys.
We'll go, guys. Kathleen doesn't wear tie dye shirts. Okay, get it right.
Which it's
Do
funny.
you want to earn your $10 an hour?
Hey, that's a pretty good rate. It's more than minimum wage in Florida.
It is.
And
Agreed.
Georgia.
Yeah.
Yeah, we pay very well. We pay fair at the Leen Show. We're hiring. Check us out on LinkedIn.
Yeah, we're trying, but specifically if you're in China, Singapore, Thailand, we're outsourcing all of this work. Also, we're not looking for American candidates. You have to pay them too much. So,
literally though. No, it's funny. The tie dye works because I have I don't know. Who knows? Maybe after episode 10, I'll start wearing a different tie-dye shirt every time. But me and Sam have like a huge tie-dye shirt collection, so I could wear a different shirt and never repeat.
Well, my collection of clothing is mainly T-shirts that I bought anywhere from 1 to 3 years ago that I've shrunk to the point where now they all fit me exactly the same, which is not very well.
Big guy
like my
in a
mom,
little shirt.
It's like it's crazy. I'm not a fit person. I'm not like super unfit, but I'm not fit by any means. But I started going to the gym like maybe once a week, like 6 months ago. And a couple months after, my mom was just immediately like, Lee, like your arms are so big. Like we just need, she literally said like, I talked to this woman whose husband's in the military and he's got big arms too. And we're going to get you some special shirts with wider arms. I'm like, is that the problem? I don't think that's the problem.
Oh my God. That's so sweet. Your mom's the best. She's like,
no,
Lee,
she is.
That was
great.
Your arms are just busting out of your shirt.
But it was a very like, it was a moment where I was like, Mom, like, I'm not like a Marine. Like,
You're not a Navy SEAL.
No, I'm not. Like, I work out like 1 to 2 times a week. And so it's like, yeah, I think I just need bigger shirts. I don't think I need special military grade T-shirts. I think I just need something like a little bit bigger. Anyway, but it's my gym routine's very funny. So this is more or less what it's been for the last 6 months. Is I start with back, and I go and I'll hit back, and I'll do pretty well on it. I'll like get most of the way through the workout, if not the whole way, and then the next day I will not go for another 6 days, and then the next week it'll reset. I'm like, okay, well I gotta start the week again, back. So I've hit back like 15 times and chest like twice in the last like 6 months.
I feel like it's probably because I feel like your back is like, most people's backs are really strong, so back exercises are probably on the easier side, right? I don't do back. I don't do back exercises, but
it depends. I mean, like, you can do really hard back exercises. You can like do deadlifts and like, you can do very hard back exercises. It's more that I would a really good friend of mine used to live here, and he moved recently, and we would go together. But I did not particularly love going with him, mainly because he does absolutely insane workouts that, like, I would literally have to be like, okay, Lee, you're going to hell for the next hour and a half.
Yeah.
You got to look at yourself in the mirror like, all right, you're going to Fallujah. Like, you need to lock in. This is going to suck, but you got to do it. And it was like, I would get, like, pushed to the brink, like, every time I would, like, hit chest with this guy. Or, like, anything else. We do, like, you know, arms or, like, shoulders, anything. They're all insane. And so, like, it was like, if I'm going to go, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
And I could just never, like, get myself to do it. And the other thing is you need a spotter to do chest correctly if you're going to bench press correctly. You can do pretty much anything else on chest by yourself, but, like, that's a big part of it. So that's, like, my excuse is, like, well, I don't have a spotter. And I don't want to ask some random dude to be a spotter, even though that happens to me all the time. It's not really that weird. It's not really that weird, but, like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I feel like that's the worst whenever you go to the gym with, like, a good friend or, like, someone that you're really close with and they're just, like, absolutely destroying you, or you just have to feel like you, like, have to live up to their expectation. Yeah, that's a lot of pressure. I've been doing Pilates because whenever I go to the gym by myself, I just, like, don't push myself. Like, I've never once, like, my whole life, like, gone to the gym by myself and, like, really pushed myself. But when I'm in Pilates, the coaches, like, do not let you, like, mess around. And it's like you have the pressure of everybody else in the room. Like, you don't want to be the worst one. So
they just put, like, a red dot sight on your forehead. Like,
no,
Kathleen, you got to keep moving.
They will literally, like, I was in Pilates last night. I was mid-plank, like a real plank. Mid-plank, and the coach came and, like, scooted my hips back, like, an inch. And instantly it became, like, 1,000 times harder. Like, a full body plank is already pretty hard. Like, any exercise, and well, that's the thing about Pilates too, is, like, you use the machines, but a majority of Pilates is, like, working with your own body weight. So it's like you're basically holding your own body weight, like, whatever you're doing, whether it's, like, you know, squats, planks, whatever, like, you're just doing your full body weight. And it already was hard AF, and then they adjusted my hips, like I said, literally like an inch back, and I was like, oh my god, like, my body's gonna crumble in half like that. But I'm same way. I go, like, once a week, and that's pretty much all I need. I mean, I don't care though. I've never been, like, a gym rat, and I just don't care. Like, I do Pilates so that I won't get cancer or to avoid cancer, and, like, that's pretty much it.
What is the correlation between those two?
I mean, everything gives you cancer. I have this, like, well, actually, it's not irrational. I have a rational fear of cancer as a citizen living in the United States of America. I just, like, have this just, like, crippling fear that I'm gonna get cancer, and so I'm always like, what do I need to do to not get cancer? And
so what does Pilates have to do with that?
I don't know. It just keeps your heart healthy and you can sweat it out, sweat the cancer cells out.
Is that how that works?
Yeah.
Do you know how cancer is produced? Like anatomically?
I mean, it's when cells are, like, growing too much, but, you know, they say that everything in America basically causes it. What we eat from, what we cook our food in, how our food's made, like, the water bottles that we drink out of, like, everything.
Well, that's just Dasani, I think.
Oh my god.
But
are you a Dasani drinker?
If it's the only option and I'm in the middle of a desert, I will drink a Dasani. But
okay,
other than
true.
That's
Fair.
about it.
Yeah, I knew one. I have a mutual close friend. He's both of our close friends. Growing up, that was, like, a Dasani stan. Like, thought that it was, like, the greatest brand. I'm like, it literally tastes
That's
so
disgusting.
bad. So bad. Yeah, it's the worst water.
Well, I'm more of a Nestle Aquafina guy personally, I would say.
I just like any spring water. Like, it doesn't. I mean, Zephyr Hills was a good one, but any spring water is, like, what I prefer. And then I think what Dasani is, it's, like, purified or whatever. It's not like spring water. Spring water tastes like the freshest to me.
Yeah. I don't really like. We kind of transitioned away from bottled water a while ago. I mainly drink, like, Brita filtered water, which I've heard is actually not very good for you.
No, dude, I changed my Brita filter the other day, and I had to take the actual filter off of the sink. There was, like, black and brown mold growing, like, underneath where the water comes out from. So it has nothing to do with the filter. Like, you could change the filter a million times, and there's still, like, gunk that will grow, like, inside of, like, the actual, like, piece that goes on the sink itself. Like, the filter is not doing anything. Like, and I literally, like, it was black. Like, it was, I don't know if you saw when I posted on my story that I hadn't cleaned my dehumidifier in, like, 6 months. And it was literally, like, algae. It was basically that. Same thing with the Brita filter. Like, there was just, like, basically, there was algae growing on it. Disgusting.
So do you think the once a week of Pilates is going to kill the mold in your body to neutralize that?
Yeah. No, I don't actually go. I don't actually go because I think it helps prevent cancer. Honestly, it's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, and it's like the best feeling in the world when you're done because it's so incredibly hard. And I just hype myself up so much because I'm like, wow, I did that. I'm like, that was so hard. I'm not a strong person, like, at all. And so, like, for me, it's just even more hard. And so it just makes me feel good about myself when I'm done. I'm like, damn, I can freaking do anything. I'm literally Superman if I can do Pilates.
Superwoman.
Superwoman. Don't assume. Yeah. Please. Don't assume. Don't assume my gender, dude.
I can assume with you.
Yeah.
Let's not play that game.
I dragged Sam to a Pilates class, actually. And, you know, it's I wouldn't say it's catered towards women, but it is mostly women in the classes in my experience. But guys do go. And so I dragged Sam to a class, I think, like 2 weeks ago? He hated it. He absolutely hated it.
Why did he hate it? He was a fitness guy back in the day. He would do, like, sprints and shit.
I don't recall. Are we talking about the same Sam? When?
Yes.
When was he? Oh man, he doesn't do that anymore. That's for damn sure.
In high school, he would brag about, like, going to this park that's near our houses in Pensacola. Sam grew up in my neighborhood. It's Kathleen's boyfriend, and he would talk about, like, doing these sprints, like, up and down this hill, at this park, like, right next to our house. And
oh my gosh.
Because he would, like, like, a couple years after, like, when we were at college, like, he would try to get me and another friend of ours to do them, and we'd be like, not
the same really, friend that you go to the gym with, the same friend that you were talking about earlier. Cool.
Correct.
Yeah.
That guy, he's not really built for sprints. I mean, he does them, but it's like the ground. You know, he's just a very stout guy. He's not really built for speed. He's built for strength.
He can only sprint if he's carrying a man on his back, because that's what he's trained for.
Yeah, and I say that, and he's like probably twice as fast as me and could absolutely smoke me in any cardio challenge. But regardless, that's not what his body's built for. It's built. He's a warrior, right? He's not a sprinter.
He's an endurance.
He's a gladiator. Guy. Yeah.
No, running is terrible.
Yeah, but I would say, like, you know, what you're saying about, like, you feel so much better. That's like, I mean, sure. If you can 100% say it prevents cancer, that's one thing. But, like, that's the benefit of working out. It's like, you know, like, people, you know, like, people can see you. You're like, you're pretty skinny. Like, you're not. I don't think you need to work out on a day-to-day basis, dude, to, like, that's a compliment there. You know, not be overweight or, you know, anything. But, like, more so, it's like you can see yourself improve a little bit on a week-to-week basis. At least I think so. Like, doing it once a week is not, like, super ideal for quick improvement, just because it's like it's only once a week. But, like, still, I mean, eventually you probably still will improve a little bit. But it's all about, like, the mental health part of it. It's really, like, that's – and it's not, like, a huge boost. Sometimes is, like, sort of the discouraging thing is, like, sometimes for me, like, I'll have a pretty good workout and then it'll end and I'll go from feeling like a 5 to, like, a 6.5. And it's like, I wish I was at fucking 10, right? Yeah. Like, I wish I was, like, on top of – and sometimes you are. But, you know, that's just life, though. You can't really cheat. You can't really cheat yourself like that. Or you could drink 2 beers. That'll get you feeling. Or you could drink – or you could drink 2 beers. That's a life hack out there. Yeah, if you want to go from a 5 to a 9, you drink 2 beers.
There is something
magical. But that's
magical.
Not long-term very healthy.
No, there is something, and let's touch on this for a second. And, well, you may feel different because like we've talked about before, like, you're a big guy, so you can pretty much drink as much as you want, and, like, I've never even really seen you super drunk. There is something really magical about 2 beers. You know, that's sitting in the back of some dark closet somewhere in a warehouse. So I stuck it in the freezer, forgot about it. Came back a couple hours later. It was the perfect consistency. It was like a Sonic slushie, except Gatorade, not Powerade. It was so good.
Now, let's speak on GoPuff a little bit, because I've had this opinion for a long time. GoPuff is, you're in the big city if you're a consistent GoPuff user, or maybe you're just the laziest piece of shit in the world. Because I live in Pensacola, Florida, not particularly a big city. We got some things going on. Probably the least walkable city in the world, Pensacola,
Yes.
Florida. It's like Dallas, Texas levels of like, oh, you literally cannot do anything without a car.
No.
That's just the truth. But kind of going with that is, from my house, there are 2 gas stations within a mile of each other. So I just cannot imagine the amount of money the luxury of GoPuffing an order of like some candy, maybe like a 6-pack, and like some Gatorade or like some ice cream or something. I cannot imagine that luxury. But your situation's a little different.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, so I am in the big city. And you cannot go inside. Yeah, I'm in the Big Peach, and you cannot go inside gas stations in Atlanta, Georgia, because you will be shot, especially the gas stations around my neighborhood. And I've said this on the show a couple of times, like, I live in a very safe neighborhood, but like 5 minutes away from me, people are shot literally every single weekend. So I try like my best. Like, I drive like 30 minutes to get gas, even, because the gas stations in the city are just so bad. So we use GoPuff all the time. We're actually GoPuff fam members. Shout out GoPuff, sponsor us. So I'm a rewards member, so I get like free delivery, and I get like they have fees for alcohol. You can get alcohol on GoPuff, but they charge you like fees for it. So if you're a fan member, like they just get rid of all of those fees. But where they get you is the minimum that you have to spend, and it might be different in different cities, but the minimum you have to spend in Atlanta is $12. And they strategically price that stuff, so it's like you can't get like a bag of chips and drink for $12, obviously. Like that, you know what I mean? Like, so you've got to get a drink, a bag of chips, some candy, some tinfoil, like plastic bags, garbage bags. Like, I ordered Sudafed. That's what was crazy. I got Sudafed. What? Yeah, dude, I got Sudafed on GoPuff, and I was amazed. I think this was a couple months back. I posted on my Snapchat story, and I was like, LMAO, like, me out here. I was like, Breaking Bad, ordering Sudafed off of GoPuff. Yeah. I mean, you can't order 50 packs of it, but yeah, it's listed. It's listed. You can get,
That's wild.
Perfect formula. You can get a bottle of red wine. You can get a pack of Sudafed. You can get cigarettes. You can get Nicorette gum. You can get, like, pretty much anything you could buy in a gas station, plus more. You can get Dibs. Like, the most iconic ice cream in the world. You can get Dibs on there. Yeah, I love GoPuff.
That's interesting.
You can get NyQuil on there too.
Can you get Benadryl?
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh my God! Imagine just
no, I'm not joking.
Talk about an ideal Sunday night. Get a bottle of red wine and a Benadryl. Take 2 of those. 2 glasses of red wine.
2 Benadryls? Oh my God. When I was a kid, I mean, both of us have allergies, but when I was a kid, I had really bad allergies. And my mom always had us, like, you know, on Benadryl, like, especially at night when you're stuffed up, because it'll put you right to sleep. I had not taken 2 Benadryl in probably a decade. And, all right, guys, don't judge me for this, but I was having some trouble sleeping a couple nights back. And so I popped 2 Benadryl. I straight up felt hungover the next day. Like, yeah, I literally, like, I could not wake up the next day. Like, I felt like absolute crap the entire next day. And I was like, damn, I feel like I used to keep Benadryl by my bed when I was a kid. And I used to just pop it like it was freaking melatonin at night. These days, absolutely not. Those 2 Benadryl wrecked me. They literally wrecked me.
Did you see the Hat Man?
No.
You know about the Hat Man?
No.
It's like a sleep paralysis demon that people talk about. If you like take too much Benadryl, you'll like hallucinate a little bit. Like you'll like kind of be like half dream, half reality state.
Ooh.
And it's just like a lot of people talk about. You see the Hat Man, like the corner of your eyes.
I've never had sleep paralysis before. I've heard people talk about it. I've never actually experienced it myself.
Sounds
thank God.
horrible. It sounds horrible.
It does.
So basically, like, if you don't know, sleep paralysis is like you're fully awake, but your body thinks you're asleep, so you can't move. That's what sleep paralysis is. Like you literally like
Terrifying.
your mind is awake and you're cognizant and you're up, but the rest of your body thinks you're asleep. And on top of that, people talk about like sleep paralysis demons, and you'll like hallucinate because like your mind's kind of like a weird dream reality state where like you'll see like a figure at like the foot of your bed or like in the corner of your room,
Yeah, that's
and
terrifying.
you can't move, and you're just there. Yeah,
That's terrifying.
yeah. It is. Benadryl should be like a not an over the counter drug. Like it should be like a Schedule 2 or Schedule 3. Like Benadryl is absurd. Because like a lot of people like to talk about Ambien, especially back in the day. Like Ambien was just like given out like very casually.
Yeah.
And Ambien is definitely far worse than Benadryl because Ambien is like, if you don't know, it's like a very strong sleep
But you like
drug,
get up
sleep
and
drug.
people have like walkabouts on Ambien. Like people are
Correct,
getting in their
yes.
cars and driving on Ambien and they
Yes,
don't even know
yes,
it.
they are.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's like the big side effect is like Benadryl, like you'll wake up and you'll think you're on like you're in a different dimension. Like if you're like if you wake up but you're still experiencing Benadryl, because like I have like this one such distinct memory, and I'll get back to Ambien in a second. But when I was like 13, I don't even know if I was sick or not. I just like took 2 Benadryl on like a school night, like 7 p.m. And then I was like laying in my bed. Yeah, I was like laying in my bed and like I fell asleep and I woke up maybe like an hour and a half later, like fully clothed. My fan light was on. I was drenching sweat. And like I remember it's such a distinct memory because like I'm awake and I kind of like start to move around in the bed a little bit, and it literally felt like I was like an alien. Like it was the most insane. Like it literally felt like I was like taken to like a different planet.
You
And
were abducted.
I didn't know where I was. Yeah, like, I could have been on an alien spaceship that just looked like my room, and I would have believed you. It was crazy. It is terrifying. But anyway, back to Ambien. Yeah, so the big side effect of Ambien is it does make you sleep, but you sleepwalk. And it's like it's so crazy that like so many people have that same experience. It's not even if you sleepwalk or not. It's like literally like, yeah, this is what it does.
Yeah.
It's like you take it and it's like even scarier, like if you're hanging out with someone and they take Ambien, like POV, you take Ambien and we're hanging out and I'm just sitting there. Like once it kicks in, you'll still be there. You'll still be talking to me.
Yeah.
Like it might be a little weird. Like it might be clear that like you're on something, but like you'll be there. You'll be awake, but your brain just turned off. It's like it makes you black out, but you're
So
still
scary.
Cognizant. How scary is that?
What was like obviously I don't think either of us have ever taken an Ambien before. But what was was it originally prescribed for like as a sleeping pill?
Yes.
And
For
that's
like insomnia. Yeah, it was like an insomnia cure.
Okay. Gotcha.
And it's one of those things like, you know, they probably maybe knew about this in like the trials, but were like, oh, it's too good or whatever. I don't know like the full history of Ambien, but like it was certainly a very popularly prescribed drug for insomnia or sleep issues in general for a long time. I don't really think it is anymore because I think at least at this point people know like how insanely dangerous it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I don't think like because again like Benadryl like you get to hang out with the Hat Man for a couple hours and then you know maybe like you're kind of hungover the next day. That's all Benadryl is. Melatonin kind of the same thing except you'll dream that you lived through like a 50-year war and then you'll wake up and be like, oh my god, I'm still me. I'm still a person.
Oh my god. Yeah.
There's no perfect sleep, but you know, sleep.
No.
Unfortunately.
No, yeah. Melatonin, I've always been one of those people where melatonin never really worked for me. I think it always had like sort of the opposite effect on me, which people are like, that's not a thing. Like it is a thing. Like melatonin can have the opposite effect on people. But fuck, I lost my train of thought. I lost my train of thought so hard there. I can't even remember what I was going to say.
Well, because like that's interesting because like you know what melatonin is, right? Like
No.
Do you know what it is?
Uh-uh.
It's the chemical that your brain produces to get you to start
Oh,
becoming
yeah.
tired.
That sounds familiar, yeah.
So really, anytime you take melatonin, it's really just because like the actual like yes, it's for insomnia or for other things. Because if you take it, it'll like produce even more melatonin in your brain. So that will like kind of make you fall asleep. Again, that will also like if you have a shit ton of melatonin in your mind, in your brain,
Right.
then yeah, you know, you're going to sleep way harder. You're going to dream a lot more vividly, and like you'll probably still be tired the next morning depending on how much you take. But it's really the main cure is for or like the main like actually productive thing it's for is jet lag. Because if you're jet lagged, your brain isn't producing melatonin. That's why you're not tired. It's like if you're jet lagged, if you go to London, if you go to Tokyo, whatever, and it's like 9-10 p.m. and you're just wired awake, like you're just not, well, you can take a melatonin and that will start to produce melatonin in your brain. That kind of like fixes jet lag a little bit. But yeah, that's interesting. It does. I don't know why it wouldn't work on you.
So
are you just built different?
I kind of have well, absolutely, I'm built different. We all know that. But I had major insomnia issues when I was a kid, like high school, and it's funny. That's why I said I used to keep Benadryl by my bed. It's probably why. Like I this is gonna make me sound bad. I feel like I have a history of like misusing over-the-counter drugs. And so I probably like took too much Benadryl as a kid to get myself to sleep and like effed up my own sleep cycle. But I remember going to the doctor for it in high school, and my doctor was like, all right, I'm going to prescribe you some sleeping pills. And they were these tiny little white ones. And I swear, I'm not making this shit up. My doctor was like, yeah, you can take as many as you want. And I was like, what? She was like, yeah, you can take 2, you can take 3, you can take 4. And I was like, these fucking placebos, man. Like she absolutely wrote me a prescription for nothing and was probably like, this is all in this kid's head. Like, this is all in this kid's head.
That's so funny.
Yeah, my doctor was the worst.
How would you not immediately know that was the case though? Because if you're like you as a person, like if you have any critical thinking skills at all, you'd be like, wait, so like if I take one of these or 4 of these, it's gonna do the same thing? How is that even possible?
Right.
So,
do we want to talk?
What?
What do you want to start with? No.
I have about the same interest in every story, and that's about a 1.75 out of 10. So, maybe I shouldn't say that because I'm gonna sound, guys. Joe Jonas and Sophie Turner divorced.
No, you'll be interested in the PR. You'll be interested in the PR side of it, I think. So like, let's at least talk about it. So obviously, for those of you who haven't heard, this past Tuesday, Joe Jonas filed for divorce from Game of Thrones star Sophie Turner in Miami, citing that their marriage is, quote, irretrievably broken. Looking at my notes here, first thing I wanted to talk about was, like, why, like, you should be able to just divorce someone just because you want to divorce them. Just like you can marry, like you don't have to have a reason to marry someone. Like, it's not like they're like, oh, why do you want to get married? Like, you can just marry someone. But to get divorced, you have to, like, prove like why you're getting divorced. Like you have to literally like document like what the reason is. So a lot of people say like a popular one is irreconcilable differences, obviously abuse, cheating, you know, stuff like that. Like this is America. Like you should be able to just divorce someone for no reason. So I think that's kind of crazy.
Well, really quick, I could be wrong, but I think the reason for that is because of like things within the marriage, such as custody, such as like splitting property, splitting assets.
That makes sense.
I think like if there was a couple who had like nothing between them and one of them went to court and was just like, I want a divorce, it'd be like, okay.
Oh, true. You know? But you're saying like someone could like bet a billionaire, be married to them for a week, and then be like, peace out, and get entitled to like 50% of their money.
If they signed a prenup. Yes, yeah. But like that's why it's the legality battle, and Nick and Sophie have kids, don't they? Wasn't that a big part of it?
Joe and Sophie, yeah, they have 2 kids.
Whatever.
So no,
Joe,
yeah, whatever.
Sorry.
No, he's literally a loser. It's not important. But there's been a lot of press about it, but mainly, you know, classic like painting her in a really bad light. Being like, oh, she's a party animal. She wasn't interested in being a mother. Like, she wasn't supportive. She's selfish. She's this, she's that. And what's been interesting to me, like, from the PR side of it, and it's like, you know, I get all my news from TikTok, so, like, take this with a grain of salt. But a lot of people have come out and been like, oh, like, I've worked in the PR industry before. Like, I've worked, you know, in the legal side of this before. And what they're saying is that typically, like, if the story comes out and it's like, oh, this partner did this, this, and this, like, that's usually coming from like the other side. So like they're basically saying like Joe is the one, like Joe's PR team is like putting out all of this bad stuff about Sophie, which likely means that Joe is the problem, which I thought was pretty interesting. Like she's stayed completely silent. Like obviously they both released, that stupid joint statement on Instagram. It's the same thing. It's typed out. Both of it reads the same, oh, we're splitting amicably. We're still friends. We love each other, whatever. But then in the news, it's like, all like Joe is a great dad and Joe is this and Joe is that and Sophie's just like a party animal. And I think that's messed up because first off, he is like the definition of like a wannabe. Like he wants so badly to be cool and to be relevant and to be like, he's almost like Tom Sandoval. Like I literally put like Joe Jonas and Tom Sandoval in the same category. Also, another main point I wanted to make is like, who asked for the Jonas Brothers to get back together? Like, what are they doing? Like, I think it's laughable. I think it's embarrassing. Like, nobody asked for them to get back together. Like, nobody wants that. And it's like,
you sure about
sorry? That? You sure about that? You sure about that? Oh my God. Funny side story. My dad just found out like about that GIF. And he was using it, like, because the LSU coach was like, we're going to beat the heck out of Florida State. And my dad was sending that meme going, you sure about that? And I was like, Dad, like that show's been out. You got to watch it. It's hysterical.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, maybe, like, the 13 and 14-year-old girls. But it's not like, at least in my opinion, I don't think the Jonas Brothers are, like, One Direction love or, like, anything like that. Like, if One Direction got back together, like, it would be, like, pretty groundbreaking. I think the Jonas Brothers are just, like, maybe this is a hot take, but I think they're just like wannabe losers at this point. Like, be just like, you had kids. Take care of your kids. Like, you've got your coin. Like, you've got your stuff from Disney Channel. Like, just like sit down and raise your kids.
Well, I have a couple things to go back on that. A, there were 13 to 14-year-olds 10 years ago. Now they're 24 to 28, and they have money to spend. B, I'm just saying, like, I don't really care, but just like to play devil's advocate. B, aren't they like touring the country right now? Haven't they like sold out arenas? I think I'm 99% sure they have, and they are. I think they're on like a nationwide tour right now. C, as we've seen with the writer's strike and some of the stuff that's come out about Disney Channel stars, that you don't really make that much money doing that.
Yeah.
You don't really like. I don't think they've gotten the coin until 5-7 years ago, probably. Like probably after the shows when they actually started making money. Okay, this is like kind of a side note from the Jonas thing, but like, have you seen this? Like, it's been talked about a little bit. It's not really new, but I just thought of it. Like, this thing that Disney Channel would do with their shows, where like after the third, it was like written into like the WGA union agreements that like after the third season of a show is when the stars, I can't remember the specifics, but like there's like a significant amount of money that the stars of a show would be set up to get after the third season is completed. So like from the fourth season of a show on, if you're on like a very successful show, then like you would get, you kind of get paid like crap for like 3 seasons. And then at the fourth and on, there's like a significant pay increase. But what Disney would do, this is so fucked up. But what they would do is they would slightly rename the show and then continue basically the same show as if like that was, as if it's a new show, and they don't have to pay. The number one example is Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. They did 3 seasons, and then they switched it to Sweet Life on Deck. Different show.
Oh, yeah.
Different show.
Right.
Don't have to pay the royalties.
That's so crazy.
How messed up is that? Crazy.
Damn, it's so wild. Like, this year has truly been, like, obviously, there's a lot of rich people in the world. There's a lot of rich actors. There's a lot of rich singers. But this year has been, like, the year of, like, so many people coming out and being like, I was not making, like, that much money. Like, maybe, like, this is probably irrelevant, but I saw, like, MGK. Like, I don't know what your feelings are about MGK, but I saw a video of him the other day where he was, like, literally claimed, and who knows if this is true. I don't listen to his music. I just love Megan Fox. But he, like, came out and was like, yeah, he had already had, like, an album, like, go platinum or whatever. And he was like, I was literally living on, like, my manager's, like, sofa still. Like, he was like, I wasn't just, like, rich and, like, famous. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't making, like, that much money. Like, I had, like, all of these, like, accolades, and I didn't have any money for it. So I feel like this year has been the year of, like, rich people being like, yeah, y'all thought I was rich this whole time? Like, literally, no.
It's, yeah, and, like, it's more of, like, it's crazy, like, when you grow up and you see these shows, you'd think like, oh my God, they've made it. They're on network television. They're on, ABC. They're on the Disney Channel. They're on Nickelodeon, whatever. You think these people are making so much money. Like they're living like the high life. Like, oh my God, they're in LA. They're in limousines, right?
Right.
They're eating lunch at the Beverly Hills Hotel all the time. They're doing all this, they're going on Rodeo Drive. Like they got all this money. They live in mansions. And then you talk to the people, or like you find out, and they're like, "Yeah, dude, I made like $1,000 a week working there."
It's
and I'm
crazy.
like, "What? How?"
It's crazy. I don't know.
But I don't know either. It's just crazy to think about. Anyway, going back to Turner. Is it Sophia or Sophie?
It's Sophie Turner. Yeah,
Sophie?
And it's like
Sophie Turner.
Game of Thrones was so huge. Obviously, I'm not a dumbass. I'm not gonna come on here and say that Game of Thrones is more popular than the Jonas Brothers. It's obviously not. But it's like, someone on TikTok said this, and I was like, that is the perfect characterization. He wants so badly to be cool, and she is just like naturally cool. Like, if you've ever seen just, like, her, like, Instagram or, like, videos of her, like, pictures of her, like, I remember laughing, like, she was, like, always the one, like, getting in trouble for, like, vaping on set of Game of Thrones, you know what I mean? And, like, she like, has come out in an article before and said that she's, like, snuck her vape, like, into multiple of her, like, Game of Thrones costumes, so she could literally just, like, vape, like, when the camera was turned away and stuff like that. Like, she just is a really cool, like, just, like, she's just a cool girl, dude. Like, she's
a baddie.
Yeah, she's just a baddie. And it's like, he wants so desperately to, like, be this cool guy. And it's like, dude, just, like, sit down and, like, let your woman shine. But no, she's moving on to bigger and better and hopefully taller guys.
Well, taller. Ring, ring.
Right.
Hit me up, Sophie.
Oh my God. That would be iconic.
If that's the
Man, your baby
one
would have
criteria,
Dude, your baby would have the reddest hair and the palest skin.
yeah, our kids would explode the second they got hit by the sun like a vampire. That's what would happen. Anyway, literally see through, like a fucking old Game Boy, like the see through ones. Anyway,
you should slide into her DMs. Be like, hey, I heard you were looking for someone a little bit taller. I'm 6'4".
That could work. She wouldn't believe me, but that would work.
I mean, Joe slid into her DMs, and that's how they got together. So, dream big.
I can't think of one single difference between me and Joe. Right?
Not Nick, dude. Nick is
They're
the
the same
cool
person
one.
in my head.
No, Nick is
They're
the
like
one
Mary
that's
Kate and
actually
Ashley
cool.
in my head.
Okay, well.
Anyway, so this is what I was gonna say was, did you see one of like the details that I saw about it that came out somewhat recently, I guess, is, did you see, like, apparently this was probably leaked by Joe's like PR team, but like the catalyst, like the actual reason for the divorce, like why it happened when it did, is because she was caught on a Ring camera saying something. Do you see that?
Yes.
What do you think she said?
I have no clue, but the speculation has been hilarious. Like, they've been, like, cutting together interviews of her and Macy Williams. Macy Williams plays Arya on Game of Thrones. They're, like, very close because Maisie Williams and Sophie Turner were literally, like, 10 and 12 years old when they got cast on Game of Thrones. And then they did it for almost 10 years. So they grew up together. So they're, like, besties. There's a clip about it being, speculation about her saying something about his quote unquote manhood.
Okay.
I'm like, obviously that's not it. Like, if you're divorcing your wife over that, like, you shouldn't have married her in the first, like, you know what I mean? If that's an issue for you, like, maybe you shouldn't have married her in the first place. But I don't know, like, what is something that could be said that literally causes divorce? Like, I don't know. What? I never loved him? Like, what?
It's like, babe, you're literally 30 years old and you're still singing the same songs you sang when you were in high school. That's, like, literally embarrassing.
Well, that was one of the other, like, guesses. They were like, oh, she probably said that One Direction is better than the Jonas Brothers, and, like, they got divorced over that. But I don't know. I mean, I really couldn't guess. Like, he just seems like such a bitch. Like, such just a wannabe little Tom Sandoval. Like, him and Tom Sandoval, that's what he needs to do, is he needs to quit the Jonas Brothers and needs to join Tom Sandoval and the Magnetic Zeros or whatever they're called. That's wrong. It's Edward something and the Magnetic Zeros is an actual band, but we'll go with it.
Okay. Well, that's all you right there. I'm no help with that one. But, I think the main takeaway here is that true love is dead.
Yeah.
True love is dead. Throw it 6 feet under. What hope do any of us have if Joe Jonas and Sophie Turner can't make it work?
I know.
What's the point?
I know. There really is no hope. It sucks.
All right. Well, speaking on love being dead, there would be a lot of strenuous times in relationships all across the country as NFL football resumes on Sunday, September 10th. So,
yikes.
Kathleen, are you stoked? Are you excited for the new season?
I'm not, Lee. I'm not. As we know, I know
can't imagine why.
I know less than nothing about NFL football. I made the mistake. I thought that no, I'm not even going to try. I don't even remember who was playing last night. The first game was last night, right?
Yeah.
And I was like trying to guess the teams. And I knew it was the Chiefs because I remembered the Chiefs from last season because something happened with the Chiefs or they did well or whatever. And then I was like, oh, it's the Stallions. And he was like, no, it's who was it?
The Lions.
The Lions. Their logo doesn't look like a lion, though. It looked like a horse on the helmet. So, that's where I was coming from. But no, I'm actually one of the lucky.
I disagree on that. But...
Well, to me, I was like, oh, it's the Stallions. It's the Chiefs versus the Stallions. It's a great game. No, I'm one of the lucky
I didn't know Meg
girls.
had an NFL team.
Yeah.
Sweet Meg.
I'm one of the lucky ones because Sam is pretty nice and he usually will watch it on his phone. Like, I've seen a lot of the TikToks of the guys being like, Friday night games and Thursday night games, it's fine. I'll watch it on my phone. But Sunday night games, I have to watch, or Sunday games, I have to watch on the TV. So we'll see what he does this weekend. But typically, he's pretty nice and he'll watch it on his phone and, he'll let me watch something else. But I don't know. He's gotten really into the sports betting, so he's probably going to be watching a lot of games. So, no, I'm not. To answer the question, no, I'm not excited at all. I freaking hate NFL football.
That's fair. I'm glad you said that because that's the take that I'm going to try to get at here a little bit. All right. So I thought of this morning and I really like it. And so this is my spiel. Okay.
Right.
I'm a single man. I can do whatever I want. No one can control me. I'm a free American with free will. So when left to my own devices, I don't really watch TV. I watch sports. That's what I do. It's like my
True.
favorite thing in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Basketball. I love basketball. I love football. I tolerate baseball when it's the only thing on. I love MMA. I love boxing. I've gotten into tennis. The U.S. Open's going on right now. Crazy matches. Anyway, point being, it's a big part of my life. And so when left to my own devices, what I do is I watch sports, and that's fine. I'm not bothering anyone else by doing that. But here's my spiel, okay, for those in relationships across the country. And I'm going to try to keep it gender neutral because, there's whatever, right? It's very common for one side of the relationship to not care about something that the other one cares about.
Yeah,
so here's the deal. Yeah, here's the deal. Now, Kathleen, do you recall the book? I believe it's a 19th century novel about the woman who goes to New Orleans and tries to find herself. And it ends with her walking into the water and drowning. Are you familiar?
Oh yeah, Where the Crawdads Sing? Is that what it's called? Oh,
no.
Okay, my
that's
bad.
That's like a new book. So Kathleen, are you familiar with The Awakening?
No.
The Kate Chopin book. Well, it's a lovely feminist novel that I read for some reason my senior year of high school for some project. But the book it's called The Awakening. It's essentially a book about a woman finding herself in modern culture, deviated away from things that she was told to do. She didn't want to be a mother. She didn't want to be a member of the patriarchy. So she moves to New Orleans. She experiences music and culture and art that she's never experienced before. And she goes on this great journey that ends with her killing herself. So maybe not the greatest journey, but
Yikes.
Here's the deal, right? Here's where it relates back to the NFL is if you have a partner who the only thing they actually want to do on a Sunday is watch NFL football from 12 or 1 to 7 or 8, depending on your time zone. So you have 7 hours, let's not include Sunday night football, Thursday night, Monday night, whatever. Forget that for this point. Sunday afternoon to late afternoon, you have that whole slot. Hey, guess what? You can do whatever you want because you know what your partner's going to do. They're going to be entranced on a TV screen by a ball moving slightly to the left or slightly to the right, and maybe sometimes it moves a little bit further, right?
Yeah.
And then they watch nothing happen for 40 seconds, and then 2 seconds of action, and then nothing for another 40 seconds, right? So, like, it's like putting your toddler on an iPad, right? They're locked in. They're in on that. You as an individual, you can do whatever you want.
That's fair.
Is that not a fair point? You can do whatever. There will be zero complaints by your partner by doing whatever you want. There's a new sandwich shop down the road. Go try it, you know? Like, try to figure out a hobby that you want to do. Man, there's just not enough hours in the day. Hey, during football season, there is. Because you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And guess what? Your partner will not really care what you do. They won't really care. They'll tolerate a conversation the same way that you'll tolerate them going, babe, there's this great game. Oh my God, you have to see this catch. You don't care. Okay, I know you don't care. But at the same time, if you go, hey babe, you know, I learned how to knit and I made this blanket. They go, oh, it's great. You know?
No, that's fair.
It's one-way traffic going parallel to each other.
Yeah.
It's like they will never meet at a point where like there's a mutual agreement, and that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
No,
but
that's fair.
Is that not a fair point? You can do whatever you have, the world is your oyster. You can do granted, yes, like you live in a place that's, not the safest to travel to new parts of. I understand that. It can be a little bit of a struggle. That's why there's 18 weeks in the NFL season. You can try different things, trial and error. But just if, for the people out there who are going to be forced to, this applies a little bit to Saturdays because we grew up in the South. Growing up, like Sunday was for church stuff. And so I was like the only kid, and there was like one guy at our church who was a Steelers fan. But besides me and that guy, like no one cared about the NFL. So Sunday was like, so this applies to Saturdays as well. If you're in a place where like you really only care about college football, that's on Saturdays. But like either a Saturday or a Sunday, if you're with, a family member or your partner or whatever, and they just want to watch football, let them do it, but go on your own spiritual journey. Go on your own, like you are an individual, you are capable of intelligent thought. Try to, further yourself a little bit, I mean, whether it's, go to a spa, put some cucumbers over your eyes, do a face mask,
Buy some tampons.
Go on a nature walk.
Other things that
Say
your
buy
boyfriend
some
doesn't wanna do.
tampons.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of stuff that typical boyfriends don't like to do, right? Guys hate buying tampons, right? Guys are scared. Guys are scared of tampons.
I mean, you just go puff them, don't you? So, like, that's not really...
Yeah, I literally do. Facts.
I'm sure you do.
I literally do. No, yeah, and it's funny. I was making fun of Sam recently because I was like, yeah, you don't really... And I'm like, damn, this was cold of me. The other day, I, like, looked at him and I was like, you don't really have any hobbies. And he was like, what? And I was like...
That's brutal. That is brutal.
Was like, and I wasn't even trying to be mean, but I was like, you don't really have any hobbies. And he was like, you don't have any hobbies? And I was like, yeah, I do. I was like, I like to paint. I do the podcast. I like to read. Like, I was like, I got plenty of hobbies. I go to Pilates. And he was like he went in his shell a little bit. Was like, damn. So unfortunately for me, I think his new hobby now is sports betting. So NFL season is huge for him. But hey, I made fun of him for not having hobbies, so I gotta let him have this one, right? Like, I asked and I shall
hobby.
receive. Yeah, no, not for him, because as we've talked about before, he loves the bets where I'm like, he makes like $10 at a time. I'm like, come on. Where's the risk?
Those add up if you still lose, though. They still add up.
Yeah, but he loves a little, like, he's like, yeah, I have a bet out. I'm like, for how much are you gonna win? He's like, $10. I'm like, all right, I don't care.
Yeah. Probably shouldn't, never mind. We're gonna ignore that. It could always not be $10,
Yeah, I guess.
He could be staring at a 25 or 50 bomb and going, "Oh, it's only $10."
Yeah, that's very true.
Because I'm saying that's what I would do in a situation like that. I could see myself doing that. Anyway,
Fair.
Yeah, so, around the country, this is a very magical time for men across the country, and I guess just people who, this is their life. And I think it's interesting. There's a lot of people out there, like, okay, going back to our friend Will, he's the fucking third co-host at this point. But
literally, sorry,
I
Will.
think I find it very interesting. This is something Will's told me a couple times, is he said people who really like sports, like, are not really, they're pretty simple people, right? Because it's very, like, you don't really need a lot of intelligence to, like, watch sports and get entertainment out of it. And also, a lot of the discourse surrounding sports is not, no, I just a counterpoint. I mean, I started watching football when I was, like, 4 years old. And you kind of, if you watch it enough, like, okay, this is just a general rule of advice for, like, a lot of things, is if you're an adult and you think of yourself as any kind of, like, not really dumb, like, if you think, like, okay, I'm not, like, super, super dumb, here's the thing. Most things in the average world are designed for people who are not super smart to get, because the world is not that complicated when it comes to, like, very basic things, right? And so here's the example, bringing it to football, is if you're watching a football game, more often than not, they don't, like, the broadcast is not tailored to people who've watched football their entire lives, and they want to break down, like, super complicated, specific schemes going on. It's designed, quite frankly, for you, Kathleen. It's designed for someone who doesn't really care or, like, really know all the rules, but they've got flashing lights on the screen. They got little graphics to explain things. Yeah. And it's, like, very smooth. And it's like, if there's anything that happens that's, like, slightly weird or complicated, they'll sit down and be like, okay, here's the rule. This is why that happened. This happened.
Man,
that's how they design their broadcasts.
This is making me feel extra dumb right now, because I ask a lot of questions whenever I'm watching sports with Sam. Like, I would say, just in general,
like, wait for the broadcast to explain it, because most of the time they will. I'm just saying, like, they built that into the broadcast. They really they try to a lot, because especially if you're watching the Super Bowl, I know it's only once a year, and, like, a lot of people watch it, like, at parties or sports bars, so you don't really hear the commentary. But if you actually listen to the commentary of the Super Bowl, because it's, like, the most watched event, not sports or not, of the year, they know how many fresh eyes are on it, so they will explain, like, they're very elementary about how they do their commentary. They're very like, okay, this guy's good, and he does this thing, and that's why he's good. Yeah. And this guy did something bad, and this is why it was bad. And it's really not, like, very complicated, just, and also just for, like, a lot of things in the world. Like, you ever wonder why, like, you look on, like, your iron, like, your iron, and it says on the side, like, hey, don't put it on your body, right? Hey, don't burn yourself alive, please.
Or, like, Tide Pods, it's like, do not eat.
Do not eat.
These are not candy.
Yes. And that's just what I'm saying, is, like, it's kind of built into society. Like, the average person, they're assuming that person is, like, not super smart. So they try to dumb things down. Sure. Yeah. Okay. Sure. That's okay. Yeah. Let's say Forrest Gump. They're designing the world so that Forrest Gump doesn't burn himself alive with his iron or eat a Tide Pod, right?
There you go.
So that's kind of a tangent, but just in general, my thoughts, people out there, if you have a sports person in your life, I would say, like, you can work on it, individual cases, but I think the most healthy approach you can do out there is let them enjoy it and use this as an opportunity to get a positive out of it. Yeah. Understand, like, you can do whatever you want during those 7 hours. You'll have the same 7 hours every Sunday afternoon to late afternoon, and, like, you can do whatever you want. Like, if there's a certain chore or grocery thing, or, like, if there's a certain thing that you like to do, again, you said buying tampons. I don't really know why that's fun necessarily, but, like, sure, yeah, okay. But, like, whatever that, and if you don't know what that thing is, maybe just spend the Sunday, like, just meditating, like sitting out with your thoughts, with yourself, trying to think like, okay, what is it that I want to do? What I have this because you're given an opportunity, you're given a life hack. Oh, people say, oh, there's just not enough hours in the day. During football season, if you don't care, the world stops from 12 to 7 or 1 to 8.
Yeah.
So
Dude,
those
so
are your free
many,
hours.
Like, so many guys now are going to be like, babe, like, you don't understand. You don't understand the gift I'm giving you right now, babe. Like, I'm literally, like, this is literally, like, better than, like, the freaking Tiffany thing I got you for Christmas, babe. Like, I'm giving you 7 hours of absolute free time to do whatever it is you want. Go buy some tampons, go do the dishes, go do the laundry, clean the house. Like, babe, it's your time.
But yeah, like, if you want to like go buy me some beer or like, go to
Go to the
Publix
grocery
and like pick up a
store.
sandwich tray.
Oh, damn,
Yeah.
that sounds so good right now. Freaking love Publix.
That's, fair point. And I'm sure I'm not the first person to say that, but that was my thought is if you're trying,
No,
because
I try and participate. Last night, though, Sam did get on to me. We were watching the game, like I said, with the Chiefs and the Stallions, like I like to say. And the Chiefs quarterback, like, threw it into the ground. And I was like, bless you. The Chiefs quarterback threw the ball into the ground, when they purposefully throw it into the ground. And I was just, like, messing around. I was like, that guy's fucking terrible. And Sam was like, he's literally the best quarterback in the NFL. Like, that's Patrick Mahomes. Like, he's literally the best quarterback alive right now. And I was like, all right, my bad.
See, and like, here's the thing, and this is like, I hope this kind of came across in the argument, is like, there's so many things that I don't really care about that a lot of people care about. If you don't care about football, you don't have to fake it. It's not offensive to me
Right.
if you're like, oh, I don't give a single shit about this stupid game on the TV. That doesn't
Yeah.
offend me personally. Just because I care, I don't really care if you don't care. So I think that's kind of
That's
what I'm
healthy.
saying is like, yeah, it's like, okay, here's the deal. If you don't care, but you're also like, okay, babe, you get to watch football for the next 7 hours, you're going to have a terrible time. You're not going to have fun because like POV, you're watching Sam if he got like full access. Because here's how his brain would work. If you're ever gone on a Sunday, or if like you gave him free reign, just like, all right, you can do whatever you want this Sunday. Like you set up the living room, do what you want. This is what he's going to do. He's going to get his phone. He's going to put up one game. He's going to have his laptop under the TV with another game, and then a third game on the TV at least. That's bare minimum.
Yeah.
And maybe not his phone, maybe just two screens, maybe like one game on one, probably red zone on the other. I don't have to explain.
Well, we
red
have to
zone.
AirPlay, so
But-
it's probably like the phone and then the TV via the computer.
Yes. And so point being, like, if you watched him, you're going to be like, dude, like, this is all you're doing all day is like you go from this screen to this screen, and then you pull out your phone occasionally and like text your friends about what you just saw. Or
Yeah.
you like refresh the score of another game and like check someone's stats. And that's all you do for like 7 hours. So if you're not a football fan, you're like, it's like Sisyphus pushing the boulder up the mountain. You're like, what are you doing right? Like what you're
Yeah.
doing has no purpose right now. Like you're just because the endorphins going on in the male brain when they see a ball on a screen with a green grass below it is unbelievable. It hits so different. It is unbelievable to the male brain. So,
yeah, and I mean, I
I'm just
don't
saying.
hate football. Like, obviously, I'm a huge college football fan. Like, I absolutely, like, love Florida State, you know what I mean? And I love the college rivalry. And, like, I don't even, like, I'm pretty good. Like, I don't just watch Florida State games. Like, I'll watch other teams play because, like, I have, like, second favorites. Like, my second favorite team is Auburn. Like, some of you guys might not know that about me. Like, it goes Florida State and then
Whoa,
Auburn.
I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I'm a big, I don't know why. I really don't know why. I'm a big Auburn fan, so whenever we played them, it was actually like kind of like controversial for me. But no, I don't hate football. There's just something about NFL where I'm just like, this is just like I just hate it. I don't know why. I just hate it. I'm like, these stupid men. I'm like throwing the stupid ball around. But when it's college, I'm like losing my voice. Like literally, like my voice is gone on the podcast today because Florida State beat the crap out of LSU this past weekend. But like NFL football, I literally couldn't care less. Like I literally couldn't care less. But I'm not a sports hater.
That's fair. My parents have the exact same take. They do not care about the NFL at all. They're pretty different. I would say college football is a lot more chaotic because it really is like Bill Belichick has a great quote. Do you know who Bill Belichick is?
I know the name,
football test.
but he was the coach
halfway there
of the Bears.
No, one more try. Think East Coast.
Bill
Think
Belichick.
Boston.
Boston. What's in
New
Boston?
England.
Patriots?
Yes.
Hey, we got there. Me, I'm like,
yeah.
what the fuck is in Boston? Other than the worst people in the world.
Like literally, yeah. But like Boston, that's like a random place that no one cares about. Boston?
Freaking Boston. Psh. They have no
Who cares
sports
about
teams.
Boston. They don't have history there. They don't have Boston.
Fucking
Okay.
nothing.
Anyway, Bill Belichick has a great quote where he says, you can't coach football, you can just control it. Is essentially hold on. I might have butchered that. Hold on. Cut this. You can control football, but you can't. Okay, cut that. But
No, you're good.
so it wasn't. I think Belichick said it. I just can't find it. But the quote's essentially like, you can coach football, but you can't control it. It's
Yeah.
like. That's not a great.
Is it supposed to be
saying
like
it.
the element of like anything that can happen, and is that what's so like charming about it?
It's more about like so many things can go wrong that the best thing, like the really the only thing you can do is like try to control it as much as possible, because if you don't control it at like a very minute, like a very micro to macro level, if you don't like if everyone isn't on the same page, it's the ultimate team sport is what it is. It's so many different body types and skills on the same field doing very small little minimal jobs at the same time just to like play the sport, literally just how it's designed. But
Yeah.
it's basically it's more or less like if you don't control it, then it's just going to break into chaos. And that's what you see a lot of in college football. It's college kids. They don't get to practice as much because of like
School.
NCAA rules and school. They're younger. They're not as experienced. Like the coaches aren't really as experienced or as as good. Like they're not true professionals in the way that NFL players are. So like so much just crazy shit happens in college football that doesn't happen in the NFL, because the NFL, it's like a much more polished up. I don't want to say boring,
They're professionals,
but like it is.
though. They're professionals.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
lot more buttoned up. It's a lot more like the skill level is way, way, way higher.
Yeah.
Like they're very different. But my parents love college football because it is, from a casual perspective, it is a lot more chaotic. Like a lot.
What is it
there's
like?
a lot more.
Murphy's Law, like whatever can happen will happen, right? Like
Yeah,
literally
something like
in
that.
college football,
It's
like,
something. Yeah, it's something like that. But that's kind of, that's maybe why you feel that way, or maybe not. But that's why some people feel that way. Is because
No, I've gotten
of
better
that.
though. Like I've definitely gotten better. When me and Sam first started dating, I was like strict. I was like, do not put basketball on the TV in front of me. But like, obviously, our friend group, like majority guys and girls. So like, I feel like I've always hung out around more guys than girls. So you guys have like turned me a little bit. Like when we did March, like when I got into like March Madness, like that's what kind of got me like into the whole basketball stuff. Like granted, again, that's college though. Like it's college, it's not professional.
It's the
But,
same.
like,
It's the same principle for college basketball to the NBA. It's the same thing. NBA basketball is like so insanely different than college basketball. Like if you watch
Yeah.
both, like they're night and day. They're almost different sports. Like how
Yeah.
they're so different.
I
Go
can't remember
ahead.
the last time I watched. No, I can't remember the last time I watched a NBA game. That's the professional ones, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember. I truly can't remember the last time I watched an NBA game. But like March Madness is fun. Like college football is fun. Professional football, like I just don't give a damn. And I think also I don't have a team. Like, like you have a pro team, do you? Who's your pro team?
No, I don't.
Oh,
Because
okay, well-
that is a great reason why I go back to what I said earlier is why like nobody cared about the NFL in our area. It's because we didn't really have a team. So there's 3 teams. I mean, technically 5 if you want to include the state of Florida, but there's 3 teams technically in our vicinity. The Jacksonville Jaguars, no thanks. The Saints, I knew some Saints fans, but I'm not really connected to Louisiana culture at all, even though it's like a 3-hour drive. I'm not really connected to that culture at all.
Freaking backwoods ass. No. I freaking hate the Saints, and I hate Drew Brees.
And the Falcons.
Yeah.
And why would you be a Falcons fan? Just like, why would you put yourself through that torture? Why would you do that?
The fact that the first thought that just went through my brain was, who are the Falcons? And they're literally my home team in Atlanta. Like, the first thought that just went through my head, I was like, who the F are the Falcons? They're literally the Atlanta team. They are the Atlanta team. In my city. That is my team, and I still didn't know.
Yeah, well, now you know. If you didn't know, now you know. Well, this was a fun episode. Sorry for all the sports talk to the non-sports people. I tried to, like,
oh,
if
my
I'm
dad's
going to do a
gonna love
sports...
this.
If I do a sports segment on this show, I try to make it interesting from, like, a non-sports perspective. Because I could come on here and talk about, like, guys, I love the Washington Commanders to beat the Arizona Cardinals because the Arizona Cardinals are tanking this season because they're trying to get... But, like, no one's really going to care. Other people do that better than me. What I do is I'm going to try to incorporate some other idea into it. And my idea was, hey, people of the world, let your partner watch football if that's what they want to do, and you go on your own spiritual awakening.
Yeah.
Because you have it's a time hack is really what it is. You get 7 hours to do whatever you want with no judgment, with no worry of what another person thinks about what you're doing. You can do whatever you want. And at the end of the 7 hours, you guys can come together and you can go, you know, babe, I finally figured out why I have social anxiety. And he goes, watch this touchdown. And that's beautiful.
God. Yeah.
You know?
People are out here discovering themselves, like, hey. It's good advice.
Second straight week that the glare just pops up at the very end of the episode.
I know.
What's up with that?
I know. We record in the afternoons, so I think it's just like the sun. Hang on, I'm looking at myself. Oh yeah, I literally look angelic. Like I literally have like Jesus beams on me right now.
You look like a stained glass painting.
Yeah, I do. I don't know how the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. So I must have a west-facing window because I get the afternoon sun, not the morning sun. It's very dark in the mornings. Like, when I start work, I'm usually, like, working almost in the dark because, like, the sun rises on the other side of my apartment. Yeah, the sun rises in the east and sets in the west.
Okay.
Because California gets all the, California gets the beautiful sunsets.
That's true.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so thank you guys for listening. We are on Twitter now, actually. We have 0 followers on Twitter. So if anyone wants to donate a follow to our Twitter, that'd be awesome, at Leen Show Pod.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to be more active on it this coming week and weeks and months. But we're still on Instagram and TikTok, at The Leen Show.
Mm-hmm.
And we are on Spotify. If you're listening on Spotify, please consider giving us 5 stars. And showing it to your friends, going, hey, there are these there's this dude and this gal, and they just chuck it up for an hour. They yuck it up. They got some real knee slappers.
We love to chuck it up and yuck it up, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think next week we're gonna just do purely slapstick comedy and puns. I think that's what we're gonna do.
Damn, a whole episode. That would be both. It would be both
on
funny.
On a podcast, on an audio medium, do slapstick comedy.
It would be funny
idea.
And it would be incredibly challenging. Like puns don't come to me easily, so that would be a major challenge. No, we've got a lot of stuff to talk about. The Bachelor's coming up soon, September 28th.
Eventually, yeah, 3 more weeks. I thought the whole season was gonna air by September 28th by the original release date, but no. So the pilot comes out September 28th. That's exciting.
Oh my gosh, yeah. No, but thank you all for listening. We still have 5 stars on Spotify, which is sweet.
That is sweet.
Yeah, not 4.9,
yeah,
5.
No. Yeah, once the I don't know. I'm trying to think of someone we've made mad. Once the Bostonians come by, well, that 5-star will probably go away. But
yeah.
You know.
But they've heard that before. They know that. They know they're the worst.
Yeah. They also have the worst accents in world history.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how that got developed.
What, you think you're wicked smart? You think you're wicked smart or what?
Yeah. I don't think Matt Damon would have won. That's Matt Damon in Good Will Hunting, right?
Yeah.
I don't think he would have won that Oscar if he didn't sound smart and have a Boston accent, because people didn't think that was possible until that happened.
Yeah. God, that is such a great movie.
Those two things never intersected until Matt Damon. So shout out Matt Damon.
Shout out Matt Damon.
Mm-hmm. He doesn't say the F word anymore. That was like a quote he had a couple years ago.
Really?
The slur, not the FU.
Oh.
He had a quote. He was like, it was like so random. It was just like, yeah, I don't say that word anymore. They're like, it was like, cool.
Right?
Nice.
It's so random. Like, thank you, Matt Damon. You're out here doing the Lord's work.
Yeah, that's great. Between that and the crypto commercials, he's had a hell of a couple years.
Yeah. And his, he was in, like, fucking Oppenheimer.
He was in Oppenheimer, yes.
Yeah,
he told his wife that he was going to take a break from acting unless Christopher Nolan called him. That was the one call he'd take. And the next day, Nolan called him about being a no-nonsense military general with a mustache.
Mm-hmm.
And that was his role.
And he slayed.
Shout out Matt Damon. Yeah, so we're also on YouTube at The Leen Show. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you so much. You're watching Kathleen be blessed by God right now. So that's fun. If you're watching, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. Maybe leaving a comment on what's your least favorite accent? Australian, French, Spanish, Southern. I don't know.
Californian, Valley Girl, Bostonian, Midwest.
Yeah. Valley Girl is up there. Valley Girl is something. Valley Girl's tough.
Mm-hmm.
I like like the Californians, like the SNL skit.
Yeah.
That's a pretty bad accent too. Oh, what are you doing here?
Jevin? He's like, oh,
Jevin?
I came, took the 4. I can't do it. You can probably do a better one than me. Jevin?
What are you doing here?
What are you doing here? Damn, I know we've talked about it before, but I freaking miss that group. They killed on SNL. They killed. I miss them.
Well, they're out making a lot more money doing less work.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's good for them.
Absolutely.
So, all right. Well, thank you to Glazed Eyes for letting us use their song "Way Down" on for our intro outro. They got recently signed to a label. They announced today. I saw.
Yes, they did.
So
I saw that too.
congratulations to them. Mm-hmm.
Follow them on Spotify and Instagram. Their socials are out there.
I believe they're Glazed Eyes FL on Instagram. Let me verify that really quick.
Yes.
I'm just hold on. I'm just on Tinder swiping right now. Sorry.
No, you're
Glazed
DMing
Eyes
Sophie
FL
Turner
on Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah. What should I say? This will be the true outro.
Come on,
what should I say?
you gotta try to slide up. I think you should say. Heard you were. I think you should say like heard you were looking for a bigger guy, or heard you were looking for a big guy. I'm 6'4" and my name is Lee.
Okay.
I don't know.
I'm gonna say that word for word. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
Stay tuned to next week when Sophie Turner will be our guest.
Oh my gosh.
So.
Iconic.
All right. Well, play style, Glazed Eyes. Have a great one, guys.